So this is what the new world will look like after the war. You'll have two regional powers, Israel and Iran. And they will have their own independent trade networks, and they will have their own access to resources. So Israel will control the resources of the Middle East, and Iran will control the Strait of Hormuz, okay? And with the Strait of Hormuz, they collect a toll, which will feed the economy. They will be helped by Russia and China, because it is in Russia and China's best interest to develop the infrastructure of Iran to facilitate global trade, okay? But then you're like, wait a minute here, but Iran and Israel are enemies. Okay, so this is a misunderstanding. Ideologically, Iran and Israel are enemies. But I want to teach you three basic principles or rules of geopolitics, okay? And once you understand these rules, it'll be much easier for you to understand the new world that we're going into. The first is this: the strong respect each other and prey on the weak, okay? This makes sense, right? Why are the strong fighting each other? Wouldn't it be easier for them to leave each other alone and go pick on the weak? It benefits everyone, right? So in this situation, right, you have different countries. You have GCC, you have Israel, you have the United States, you have Iran, okay? So you have these four different players in this war. Right now, it's essentially Israel, GCC, and US fighting against Iran. But if Iran proves it is strong, and Israel proves it's strong, and GCC proves it's weak, the US proves it's weak, guess what's gonna happen? Israel and Iran are gonna get together and say, screw these guys. Let's just work together, man. Okay, does that make sense? Even though in the beginning, it seems as though Israel, GCC, and US are allies against Iran, ultimately, if Iran is able to prove it's strong, then Israel will abandon the GCC and the United States. And Israel will work with Iran to build a new order in the Middle East. Because that's the law of the jungle. Okay? That is what is in the best interest, according to game theory, for Israel. And the last thing to understand is the weak do not work well together. The weak must ally with the strong for protection, okay? So what this means is that GCC is weak, right? So you look at Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Oman, Kuwait, Qatar, okay? So these are the 6 GCC countries. They're all weak. And you would think, you know what? If they were to combine their resources and fight together, they could probably beat Israel or probably beat Iran. The problem with this is weak players don't work well together, okay? They're weak because they're stupid. And so what they do is, rather than seek to work together, what they do is they seek to ally with stronger forces, okay? So right now, they're all aligned with the United States and Israel, all right, against Iran. But as this war progresses and the US falls, then what will happen is that they must either choose Israel or Iran. And what's going to happen is that you might have some places, Qatar and Oman, who choose, you know what, screw this, we're going to join Iran. And you have Saudi Arabia and UAE who are like, okay, let's join Israel, okay? But the GCC, regardless of what happens, will no longer be a major geopolitical factor in the Middle East anymore. A lot of them will be destroyed because of this war. All right? So according to game theory, this is what the world should look like after the war ends. But again, this is all theory. Okay? This is a class focused on intellectual speculation. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to make us more curious about the world. It's supposed to heighten our critical thinking skills. This is not meant to be prophecy, okay? I'm not saying this must happen. I'm saying this might happen for these reasons. And if they do happen if they do happen, then this provides us a good framework to understand our reasoning better, okay? If it doesn't work out this way, it's fine because we'll just go back and analyze what went wrong better, okay? what's really important is not to set a judgment. What's really important is keep our minds open and be open to the possibility of different outcomes. All right? Okay, any questions, guys?
If Israel really defeated America, what will...
No. I didn't say Israel will defeat America. I never said that. Okay?
Well, Israel might.
No. Let's be clear about language. I did not say Israel will fight America. What I said is Israel is auditioning to replace America. Israel is trying to prove to the global elite, I'm strong enough to replace America when America leaves the Middle East. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Let's be clear about language. Okay, yes?
What will Israel try to prove that it's stronger than America? And I'm curious what the next step Israel will take if it's trying to show that it's strong.
Okay. All right. So, look, Israel doesn't have to do anything different. Israel is determined to win this war, right? That's all it has to do. Israel is determined to win this war, and the United States is not determined to win this war. The United States doesn't even know what it's doing, okay? All right, so what's important, okay? What's really important is to go back to our analysis. You need an empire, okay? And you have the finance, the game masters. And then you have the global economy. Okay, all right. So these different players. And again, there's a really important idea to understand. All these players are interested in maintaining the status quo. Eventually, as this war progresses, they're going to recognize that America is actually a problem. The American empire is not a good thing. It's not a benefit to us. It's a problem for us. And so we need to replace the American empire, right? And who's the only alternative? Israel. So we need to transition from America to Israel if we are to maintain the system. Then they'll recognize that, okay, the problem though is America will not go away. Empires don't surrender power willingly. And so we need to create a situation in which America is forced out of the Middle East. Now, Iran cannot defeat America on the battlefield. America can drag this thing on for at least 20 years. But we don't want to wait 20 years because we'll lose a lot of money in the process. And there's no point in waiting 20 years. So we need to force America out of the Middle East. So if we cannot defeat America, if Iran cannot defeat America on the battlefield, what we need to do is cause America to implode. We need to cause a collapse in America. And how do you do that? The economy. If I crash the stock market, if I cause oil to go way up, if I cause a lot of discontent in America, this will cause a civil war in America. And then the American military has no choice but to retreat back into America, okay? And then Israel will naturally take over from America. And this is something we'll discuss next class, okay? The strategy for how to destroy the American empire and replace it with Israel, all right? Okay, does that make sense? Okay, any more questions, guys? Okay, great. So I will see you next week, okay?